I just want back.
And the crash that nearly killed Australia's world champion ski jumper.
As long as there's progress of any type, we feel very positive about it, and the doctors have said that that's great.
When Australia wakes up in the morning, the world's most powerful job will be in new hands. During the night, Bill Clinton will become the 42nd President of the United States, and one of his first tasks will be to deal with Saddam Hussein's apparent peace overture. The Iraqi leader has called a ceasefire in the Gulf, but since most of the shooting's been done by the Allies, it's not clear how that will work in practice. In a moment, we'll be hearing from Mr. Clinton, but first, Chris Bury of America's ABC network reports on the lead-up to the inauguration.
The official transfer of power was still hours away this morning when Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in London made the presidential switch. A few hours later, the real president-elect was off to a running start on a day chock full of inaugural festivities. And Americans were waking up to find Allied warplanes once more had bombed Iraqi targets.
There has been a skirmish in Iraq this morning. We're told it happened in the northern no-fly zone near the town of Mosul.
But in Baghdad, the morning paper hinted at a change in Saddam's attitude. In an open letter to Clinton, Saddam's press officer insisted Iraq is not an enemy to America and does not want to be. None of this seemed to have any impact on Bill Clinton's day, though he is the first president-elect since Nixon to assume office with American forces in battle. Clinton visited President Kennedy's grave and later hosted a luncheon for fellow governors, but made no mention of Iraq. At about that moment in the American transition, a smiling Saddam Hussein went on Baghdad TV. He offered Bill Clinton the inaugural gift that had been only hinted at before, a ceasefire, a carefully hedged promise to stop firing at Allied aircraft in no-fly zones beginning at 8 a.m. tomorrow, if the Allies stopped bombing. Saddam said he wanted to give Clinton a calmer atmosphere. But as Saddam sent his signal, Governor Clinton was still off having a beautiful day in his new neighborhood, meeting Mr. Rogers at a salute to children and ironically talking about his temper.
It's not a bad thing to be angry, you know. Sometimes there are things worth being angry about.
In Washington tonight, the gloss and glitter of the inaugural gala. Clinton, faded by the stars of screen and stage, seemed to be enjoying every minute of it. In this crowd tonight, Saddam Hussein was reduced to a joke.
Well, I can't thank you all by name for coming here tonight, but Saddam, boy, are you in the wrong place.
The next president, though, did not laugh for long, and his parting words left the impression that he knows the party will soon be over.
I want you to know that none of us who were part of this campaign will ever forget who brought us here and why. And beginning tomorrow, we will do our best to be faithful to your trust. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Chris Bury reporting. Earlier, Dan Rather of CBS asked Mr. Clinton whether relations with Saddam would improve under his presidency.
I think that depends largely on what he does and whether he shows more willingness to comply with the United Nations resolution. And of course, our allies have to maintain their resolve. I've been very encouraged by the support that we've received in these days from Britain and from France. I think that, you know, I'm also encouraged, frankly, by a lot of the work that was done, even when he was not being all that helpful, by the UN inspectors. You know, this facility that our planes hit over there day before yesterday was one that was uncovered by the inspection teams. So I think we've got to have access for those inspection teams. I mean, this guy cannot be building weapons of mass destruction there.
Is it your view, or is it not your view, that Saddam Hussein must go? That has been George Bush's view, that he must go. Is that your view?
My view is that it is almost inconceivable that we can have good relations with Iraq with him there, because he has given no indication that he is capable of being a reliable member of the community of nations. So in that sense, President Bush's view is that he must go in order for Iraq to be part of the family of nations. But to be fair to President Bush, his view has not been that it is necessary for a war to take place to take him out.
Bill Clinton with Dan Rather. After the break, the silver-tail con man who made millions.
Hyundai have sold 50,000 cars in Australia, and they're doing deals on XL Sprint, XL 4 and 5 doors with air, and the NRMA award-winning Lantra. The 50,000 sales celebration on now.
Leslie's gigantic summer clearance has massive price cuts of up to 40%, but for the next 10 days only. That's up to 40% off all summer stock. Even suits are cut to cost. Surfwear, jeans, it's up to 40% off all summer stock. Now at Leslie's.
This wood heater burns not once, not twice, but 3 times. That's what makes the Meridian 3 from Woodie's Home Heating so unique and so very efficient. Available in freestanding or inbuilt models, the Swiss-designed Meridian 3 sends an aerodynamically correct airflow around the heater to give you an average combustion efficiency of over 80%. Meridian 3, tomorrow's heater, available today from Woodie's Home Heating.
To make it a night, join family and friends or go as a group and be a part of the Gala Sports Evening of the Year.
Is David Boone.
Taz TV and DJ Mitsubishi invite you to the Sports Champion Award presentation dinner at Breast Point Casino. Your ticket includes a 3-course dinner with beer and wines, the 1-hour live telecast followed by entertainment from Patrick McMahon, and dance till late with nightlife. Just phone 349677 to reserve your dinner invitation to the Sports Champion Awards.
He has come from the past to destroy the future. His magic has no mercy, his evil has no equal. The supernatural thriller Warlock, Cascade's Friday evening movie on Taz TV.
Colin Room was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but he ended up knifing his mates in the back. Colin Room came from one of Tasmania's most respected families. In the early 70s and 80s, he was a financial whiz kid, and he managed to convince his well-bred friends to invest with him. The trouble was, Room was simply ripping them off for millions. Murray Moore reports.
Sure, I was convicted of those crimes, but my feeling still is that I wasn't guilty. I'm still endeavouring to put my life back in order, and my aim is to pay everyone back because the money was lost, there's no doubt about that. How it was lost, that's the problem as far as I see it. It wasn't dishonest.
Despite being convicted of 193 counts of fraud, former high-flying accountant Colin Room still won't admit any guilt.
Well, there's nothing to admit to because they found me guilty and therefore I've accepted the decision, but we never accepted the fact that, in my own view, that I was guilty. And from my point of view, I did the right thing by my clients, that in the end everything went horribly wrong.
Colin Room was born into Tasmania's Silvertail set. His father was a Lord Mayor of Launceston. His personal friends included politicians and the landed gentry. He earned a reputation for being an investment whiz, and because Room was one of the establishment, the well-heeled flocked to him with their money.
I had an understanding with my clients, as I saw it, that was virtually in control of their affairs. They trusted me and trusted me very much. That trust was broken in their eyes. I can see now how it was broken, but I was living a lifestyle and conducting a practice that was just basically going out of control. It was going for the high spots. We didn't get there.
But did you really get so egotistical, I suppose the word, that you really believed you could do what you like with your clients' money?
I don't think egotistical. I think it was more carried away with the confidence. I got super confident that you thought you could do anything. And obviously I couldn't, but at the time I thought I could.
As most of his clients were friends, Room did as he pleased for years, and that meant leading the life of Riley.
Oh, well, as far as Tasmania goes, I guess probably #1 of all time. I mean, I was racing around on cruises, I was racing around, jet-setting around the world, I was director of about 100 companies. I threw lavish parties. I mean, that was the lifestyle I was leading. Australia-wide, just one of a number, but Tasmania, yes, I was #1 in the bunch, I guess, for high living.
At the same time, millions of dollars of his friends' and family's money disappeared.
It's hard to ascertain, but it would certainly be probably in the order of $2 to $3 million. I don't know where all that money is. I mean, most of it went down the drain, presumably on investments we made overseas, but it just went. It didn't go into my pocket.
A lot of the money that you lost came from friends and family. Would you agree that's a fairly low act for an accountant?
Yes, but only if they did that deliberately. And I know we're coming back to what the jury said, Murray, but in my mind, which is the one where it comes down to, I think, in the end, that I thought I was doing the right thing.
The right thing included fleeing Australia in 1982, leaving his wife, 2 daughters and his parents to deal with the authorities.
Now, fled is the media word. I went away, and the judge even accepted this. I went away on a normal trip for about 10 days. While I was away, things started to collapse, and then the only way I could make it was by staying away and getting these overseas things coming good. Well, they didn't come good.
But you left your family to all take the punishment on their own?
Yeah, because I thought again that the only way I could do it was by starting a new life and getting the money back that way. If I'd come back, there was no way I was going to do it. And to me, the client's money was the most important thing.
Room was on the run in the United States for 6 years. He was finally extradited back to Tasmania and convicted of the 193 fraud charges, totalling $1.7 million. He served 4 years in maximum security, where he used his entrepreneurial skills to set up his own in-house TV show.
Okay, welcome to the first edition of Live at 5, coming your way every Thursday every week. Thank you. My sidekick here is Ashley Sutton, who has put on a Mad Gender Everidge badge, and everyone will get those who come on the show tonight.
Jail hasn't dampened his confidence. Room has also been writing a novel that he expects to be a bestseller, despite having no literary experience.
I think for the average person it is complete unreality, but to me, 10 years I've been working on this book. 10 years ago I saw the potential of it. I'm not an idiot to come out of jail again, start on nothing, and produce a dream that's not going to come off. I believe it will work.
But you really believe, without any writing experience, that you're going to write this #1 hit, which will write off $2 million worth of debts? It does
Hopefully
sound...
more. Look, it sounds utopia, it sounds dream world. Of course it does, I agree with that. But it's my assessment. It's my assessment as a cold, hard-headed businessman. It's my assessment it's going to do that.
What do you think of his scheme that he'll write a book and pay off his creditors? Do you give that any credence at all?
Of course I do.
While some may be sceptical, Michael Hodgman, former federal politician, now a Tasmanian Liberal member, is an adamant supporter.
Colin Room is a person of extraordinary vision, extraordinary ability, and I would like to add, in my opinion, also integrity.
He was convicted of 193 charges, fraud against friends and family, and you're saying he's a good person?
I am saying he is a good person. Professionally, I can't comment on the jury's verdict. I certainly trust him, and I certainly support him. I believe he's going to make a fantastic rehabilitation.
After his novel,